Hi, welcome to Rhythm and Word. My name is Nancy Benson-Nicole, and I'm delighted to serve as Associate Pastor for Caring Ministries and Spiritual Formation at Fourth Presbyterian Church in Chicago. For the next 4 weeks, we will be journeying together, rooted in the first chapter and the first 18 verses of the book of Ruth in the Old Testament, otherwise known as the Hebrew Scriptures. And we're going to consider what this particular portion of Ruth's story has to do with challah bread. If that sounds wacky yet intriguing to you, I encourage you to stay tuned for all 4 of our sessions together as we learn how what shapes and weaves us together and forms us and nourishes us, just like a good loaf of challah bread, is what we can glean from looking at how family and relationships are forged, and gives us really good food for thought, if you will, along the way. When disruption threatens what had been, requiring us to live into a new way of life, a new way of being, sometimes we find that in these circumstances, we're connected with what binds us. Often what binds us to one another is a sense of loyalty that, when healthy, is rooted in love. We encounter that in the first chapter of the story of Ruth that appears to us in the Old Testament. And we'll continue to move forward in considering the story of Ruth and Naomi. When last we were connected, we were considering how Naomi, in the face of returning from Moab back to Bethlehem, was parting ways with her one living daughter-in-law, Orpah, who went back to her people. But Ruth and Naomi continued to journey on, and Ruth asserted her love and faith and loyalty to Naomi by expressing the desire, the conviction really, to stay with Naomi and to forge a life together with her. And so that's where our story will continue. I'll be reading from the book of Ruth, and it remains in the first chapter. It begins with verse 17. I'm going to read verses 17 through 18. Ruth says, "Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die. There will I be buried. May the Lord do thus and so to me, and more as well, if even death parts me from you." When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she said no more to her. Here ends the reading. Boy, what a determined individual Ruth was. Such powerful words. Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. May the Lord do thus and so and thus and so to me, and even more, if even death were to threaten to part me from you. Wow. Such determination to stay steadfast in her bonds of loyalty rooted in love with Naomi. Naomi had carried a sense of bitterness in her life because of all of the elements of disruption. Having to flee a famine, go to a new and foreign land, first experience the death of her spouse, and then the death of her 2 only sons. And then facing the prospect of returning to her homeland once her safety and her sustenance could be vouchsafed by the Lord. So much that disrupted her life, that caused her to have to make difficult choices, that caused her to grow bitter. And yet, Ruth sees the light of love in the relationship that exists between the 2 of them. And Ruth, in a sense of loyalty, remains rooted in determination, in forging family, in new and different ways. What constituted Ruth, the stuff of which Ruth was made, was determination. What is it for us to be determined to do something in our lives? What is it that compels us to be steadfast, to say, I'm going to stick with the plan. I'm not going to waver in what is authentically a commitment that I have made. I think about my own sense of calling to ministry, how the nature of ministry in my life has taken a variety of forms and in different contexts. I've had the great privilege of serving in higher education among young adults and people discerning what their call in life was, what sparked them and gave them the passion to be determined to follow through on a degree, on a career. I've had the beauty of working in multiplying resources towards theological education and other forms of outreach where people give from a spirit of generosity, who are determined to give and build structures and organizations and ministries, to give to them financially, to support, and are determined to make sure that people have access to education or healthcare. I've had the great privilege of writing things and feeling how words connect people to one another. And I have the great privilege here at Fourth Church to pray with people, to pray for people, and to equip others in caring about and for people. And I've been determined to live into that call unwaveringly. It's the commitment that I have made. And I'm certainly not alone in that. All of us who are bound together in this community of faith are united by some sense of determination to live together as Christian family. And I think it's meaningful for us to recognize and be inspired by what compels us to remain committed to what it is that gives us life and hope and strength. There are so many temptations to be non-committal in life. We live in a disposable culture where things are easy to acquire and accumulate, where often we're driven by the opposite impulse to declutter, to let go, to get rid of things. There are talks of fast fashion, about objects and items that are cheaply made, mass-produced, and then we're encouraged when they wear out so quickly to just throw them away. We live in a culture of expediency where we can just easily throw things away. But there are those things that are at the core of who we are, the stuff of which we are made, our values, our passions that shape us and form us, the stuff of which we are made, by which we are constituted. In Ruth's case, it was determination to be family. For us, it may be different things. Or, like Ruth, maybe you made a commitment or are making a commitment to stay with a sense of love and loyalty to family. But whatever it is that sparks within us a determination to stay the course, to remain present, may it feed us like a good piece of challah bread that is woven together, its various strands, baked and then made fresh and available to us, that we may break bread together and be fed and nurtured by it. Ruth and Naomi will return to a land that is filled once again with bread. Bethlehem, the land of bread, as it's translated in Hebrew, which once was filled with famine, but will once again be a place where they will find not only one time, but in many occasions, that they will be enriched by opportunities for life and liberty and flourishing that will never be torn away from them. May the determination that makes us who we are, or the stuff of which we are made, those good ingredients, continue to give us sustenance and strength.
Today I watched in silence as people passed me by, and I strained to see if there was something hidden in their eyes. But they all looked back to me as if to say, life just goes on. The old familiar story, told in different ways. Make the most of your own journey from the cradle to the grave. Gotta dream your dreams tomorrow, 'cause today life must go on. Oh, but there's more to this life, living and dying, more than just trying to make it through the day. More to this life, more than these eyes alone can see, and there's more than this life alone can be. Lies in silence, staring into space, and looks for ways to make tomorrow better than today. But in the morning light it looks the same. Life just goes on. She takes care of her family, she takes care of her work, and every Sunday morning they take their place at the church. Somehow they still feel the need to search, 'cause life just goes on. Oh, but there's more to this life, living and dying, more than just trying to make it through the day. More to this life, more than these eyes alone can see, and there's more that this life alone can be. So where do we start to find every part of what makes this life complete? If we turn